This is Amy from Top Knot Extensions. I wanted to show everybody because I usually sew in or put in whatever kind of extensions I'm wearing myself. Just because I'm a mom, I have 4 little kids, so it's just hard getting time to go to the salon to do it. People always ask how I do it, so I just wanted to do a quick video. I'm gonna start. I actually don't do, I do natural beaded rows, but I don't train on them. I train on sewn in beaded rows. These ones that I'm doing today though are natural beaded rows. I am going to, there's just a slight difference, so it's just easier for myself to do this on myself with the natural beaded rows. I recently cut my hair. Styles are going, you know, a lot shorter, trend right now. So I've had such long hair for so long that I wanted to try something new, and I've actually really liked it. But I can't ever go without extensions. So I'll always have some extensions in, and I wanted to show people that when you go shorter, you still wear extensions. So right now I'm just gonna be tying this knot right around this first little piece just to anchor it in. And I'm just gonna get it secure in there with some hairspray. So I have my needle, my U-needle, which I use for sewn in beaded rows also. Like I said, it's really similar. I'm gonna take sorry, the camera keeps going in and out of focus too since it's on a tripod. I'm gonna use our TK beads. These are 3mm, I believe. Anyways, they work perfect for this method. So what I'm gonna do, and actually I grabbed the wrong color, these are our light brown and these are our dark brown. I'm gonna use dark brown for me, obviously. So anyway, so I'm gonna put the bead on the thread, and hopefully you can see in this mirror. I mean, I'm not doing like a tutorial necessarily because I'm not trying to show you how to do these. I'm just showing you that it's possible to do them yourself. So I also like mine looser than most people do. I don't like the tight feeling. That first day or week it kind of hurts. And then also I find that it causes more breakage. So you can see my mouth is the place that I hold my needle. I just clamp that down, and I always kind of just tug at it to make sure it's comfortable, because these first 2 beads will take the most weight. They'll be holding the most weight, so you don't want to get that too tight, or you'll tend to sort of get bald spots. Okay, so I'm going to take my pieces pretty close together. I like to putting more hair than most people do in the beads because of my experience with my own extensions, wearing them, and with fine hair. I tend to get more breakage if I don't put enough hair in. It just isn't good for my fine hair. So you can tell that I'm doing things backwards, so don't look too close because I'm sure it's not going to be perfect. But like I said, at least you'll get the idea that you can do these yourself. And actually, it's so much easier because of time constraints. You know, like I said, I have 4 little kids, and to get into a salon, even if I have one of our TK stylists doing them, it's just, I don't have time. So, you can see, I'm just going to do this all the way around my head. I tilt my pliers straight up and down this way, so that when I pull, if you can see here, so that the beads lay flat. It's just a lot more comfortable. So, and I kind of do that before I clamp it down, so that I can watch how it's folding over. But this really just takes practice, guys. I have done every method pretty much on my own hair, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say I'm perfect at it, but I get it done. And it's just a coordination thing. I'm assuming most people that are gonna watch this are hairstylists, and we all remember how it was when you first picked up some scissors and a comb to cut hair. You your brain didn't know what to do with the scissors or the comb when you were done cutting. It took a little bit of time to figure out how you grab the scissors and hold them. It's the same thing. Once you get used to it, you can't even think of how awkward it felt at first. It's the same thing. It just takes practice and sort of a getting used to doing it from a different angle, but it is possible. So like I said, it's just one of those things that you just have to try. I do have to say, this definitely is the hardest method of doing on myself. So just don't get frustrated if you decide to try. It definitely is the hardest. Tape-ins are so simple. If I also will spray the hair to make it stick together a little bit if I need to hold it down, separate it so that I can sort of have another hand available. But I go up and around, and then I'll pull this tight. So, of course, like I said, on myself, it's not going to be perfect, but I'll get it the best I can. So now that I feel that that's pretty secure, then I'll put the bead on. But as I was saying before, I've done my hair shorter to see how I would like it, but I always wear extensions because, as you can tell, my hair is really fine without extensions. So I always wear extensions, whatever style it's in. My extension method changes. I'll, go back and forth between tapes, I-tips, U-tips, beaded rows, whatever. And it depends on sort of the style that I'm doing, and also comfort. I work out a lot, so, and like I mentioned before, I have 4 little kids. So I'm so busy that I rarely get a chance to actually, style my hair for, for a reason. It's usually up in a ponytail or in a bun or something. So I ended up cutting it shorter just to kind of go with the trend. And like I said, I wanted people to see that you do wear extensions with shorter hair. And for a dramatic difference also, you'll see a big difference. It holds curl so much better. Our TK hair is all cuticle hair. Cuticle hair is a step up from Remy hair. Remy hair, a lot of people don't know this, but in creating my own hair brand, I learned a lot from trial and error and out of necessity, but I learned that there's not a regulation on hair terms like there is on, say, like food or something. To have an organic label, there's a lot more stipulations. In fact, with hair, there's not any stipulations about, pretty much there's a lot of leeway when somebody labels hair, say Remy, that can mean a lot of different things. So one one way that people do Remy is they actually put the hair in an acid bath, and it strips the cuticles so that the cuticles are all off the hair so they don't rub together if they're in different directions. That causes tingling. So a higher, even higher quality hair is actually, it's called cuticle hair, and what that is it is hair that comes from one donor. They cut it, either ponytail or braid, they cut it and it stays in that direction, the same direction that the cuticle grew out of the head, all the way through the coloring process and through the process of getting the hair into the form of an extension. So that cuticle never leaves the direction that it grew out of the head. So there's no need to do a acid bath on it to remove the cuticle. So with that being said, we have done our professional methods that in cuticle hair. It is a little bit more expensive, but believe me, it's worth it because your hair will last a lot longer. This is where it gets a little tricky in the very, very back. Just this little back section right here, because it's like from here to here that I can't see very well between the two mirrors. So this is usually where I get some sort of bunching or whatever. But like I said, you know, we just sort of do what we can as hairstylists to make it work for ourselves. We'll always do better on our clients than we do on ourselves, it seems like. But so I'm just making sure that I have really clean sections here. I want them, if they're not clean, then that's where more breakage comes in. So I just want to make sure those little sections are nice and clean that are going to be going into the beads. And when I'm doing it myself, when I pull this string up, it some hair will sort of, you know, get messier in there, and I just sort of clean it out before I put the bead in. Just make sure, you know, it's not all tangly. So putting the bead again through the needle and then down through the thread, and once I pull the hair through, I can feel it, and then I just feel as far as how loose or how tight I like it, and then I can feel it pops through, and then I just flatten the bead again. So thanks for being patient right here, because this is definitely the trickiest part. And that's my little boy. Yes, babe.
I love you.
I love you. So just get that nice and flat to make sure it's comfortable. There we go. I think one more bead will be hard, and then it'll be easy again after that. But this is where I'll start looking into this mirror. Okay. Oh, don't play with that, please. So sorry, again.
Is that chocolate?
No, it's makeup.
Oh, makeup.
Yeah. So at least on this side you can see
chocolate.
up close.
It looks like chocolate, right?
Yeah.
Looks like chocolate.
So
It looks like chocolate. Look. It looks like chocolate.
yeah. To get a clean section, you just kind of use your needle to clean out that little area. I wanted to get a little bit more hair in there. And I also can feel it, like right now I feel that it's not really a clean section. So I can just kind of work my fingers around it and make it a clean section. So this is what I'm doing. I'm taking the thread over my hair. So then I'm just kind of going around and pulling this. Again, I'm not doing an instructional video necessarily, like how to do these, because I don't train again on beaded rows, on natural beaded rows. For doing them on myself, like I said, it's just a little bit easier for some reason for me to do the natural beaded rows on my own self than the sewn-in beaded rows. I feel like the difference is kind of a knot and the way you go around the hair, but and the way that you pull the hair through the bead is also different. However, I kind of feel like this pulls it a little bit tighter so that I can have free hands while I'm working with the rest of the hair. With the beaded rows, I have to actually be holding the hair with my hands. I can't let both of them go like this. So, as you can see, just sort of pulling in each direction to make sure that that's nice and secure from the root. I don't want it off of the scalp very much, but I'll just kind of pull and I can feel the bead coming through. And then I'll take this, and this is pretty much all just in feeling right here, to be honest, because it's just, I can't see very well in this back little section. This is where I'm going to start folding the beads back this direction. So they don't keep folding this way, and then we get up here and then there's a big bulk right here. So right in this back section, about where the head curves, is where I just start turning the other direction. So, and my hair, I've worn so many different extensions through the years that my hair on my scalp is a little bit thinner. One is of extensions with short hair is, first of all, extensions hold curls so much better than most natural hair. So I know my hair doesn't hold curl at all. So when I'm curling it, I can do my hair, wash it like every 3 days when I have extensions. And if I don't, I have to wash it daily because it just is so flat. So that's a huge bonus with me because time is such a precious thing as a business owner and also a mom. So I just spray like that on myself just to sort of hold it in place. The idea with top knot extensions behind it is basically enhancing what you have, what your client has. We really, really want to change and evolve with the client and with their style as they, as styles and trends change. And also their lifestyle. You know, you may have a client that comes to you when they're a single college student, and then, you know, as years go by, they have get married and have kids and whatever, you know, their lifestyles changed. So it's important that you realize how to evolve those extensions with the client, because usually when a client starts extensions, if you do it the right way, they will want to have extensions forever, because and that's by figuring out the amount of hair that you use. For me right now in this stage of life, it's so much easier. Before I had 4 kids, I would wear a full head of hair, so much hair, but now, you know, with small kids, it's definitely easier for me for getting ready to have less hair. So I prefer less hair now, but a lot of people would assume that you just take your extensions out, but it's not how it works. We really want to enhance what the client already has. For example, our TK tape-ins, those are a perfect introduction to clients for color, also for see, this is where it gets a little mangy, but don't look too close, like I said. Clients who have fine hair, that their hair doesn't grow in on the sides, it's a perfect way to introduce hair extensions by just putting a few tape-ins on each side. And I'm telling you right now that your clients, you will have that client forever because they will, you just did for them what no other stylist could, give them hair. You know, they just didn't really think it's possible. And a lot of people think it's basically an all or nothing thing with extensions, and that's not true either. When you enhance what they have, instead of just completely changing what they have, it makes it more affordable for them. So I'm just putting a tad bit of glue right there on that, and then I'm going to tie it in a double knot. Okay, so that's secure. At this point, I'm going to take this string from the underneath row that I left hanging out. I'm going to tie it so that it's nice and secure. Some people do this all at the end, which you can do that too. It's just, I like to get everything done on one side, and then that way you just don't forget. So I'm just putting some glue right on that section, and I'm putting my finger basically there because I can't see it. It's really similar color to my hair, this one is, so I can't see it. And just in case you're wondering, yeah, I am using a lighter thread, and I'm doing that actually on purpose because I discovered for myself it's a lot, it's very rare, it's really hard to see the bead, to see the thread, because, you know, it's really right at your scalp and, you know, tucked in underneath all of that hair. So I prefer using just a shade off, because when it's the same color, like, we also have thread too. But if I have the same color, which we have, I thought I had it right here, in my hair, it's so hard to see it when I get out, when I take it out. And I'm like so worried that I'm gonna cut my own hair. So it's just so much easier for me if if it's a shade off. And if you have better eyes than me, then you're probably just fine if you match it, whatever. It's just something I've learned for myself. It's just better that I have a little bit of a shade off. So I just go kind of in front and behind this bead. So it's, this thread stuck on my arm. So it's a more secure. But saying that, I do that because I don't do them as tight. I know some people don't feel comfortable anchoring the thread through that front bead, but I don't like to do them as tight as most people. So there's a little bit of wiggle room over there that I can actually get my needle in just fine. So there we go. I just shimmy that little piece. And you'll see after I clean all that thread up, it'll be a lot nicer. I left a lot of thread in there. The thing is when you, the second time you do them, you're gonna have hair from the weft still has thread sewn together to keep the pieces of hair together. And I really like to keep that as much as possible because then it's exactly fitted back for the head. You just put it right back on. So I don't remove that hair or a lot of that thread until I'm done sewing it back in again because I don't want it to come apart. That's sort of the bonus of tightening versus putting it in for the first time. The first time you have to sort of like size and cut and whatever, and it takes a little bit longer. So you'll just see there's going to be some extra random threads throughout, but until I'm done. And so then I just kind of go around the whole weft, and this is actually pretty fast and easy. I like to twist the hair when I pull it through, I just feel like it makes it a little bit more secure. So you'll see I just do a little twist thing. If you're familiar with natural beaded rose, I don't think that's like the normal thing, but I could be wrong, honestly, I can't remember. So anyways, so I'm just going around and I'm sewing exactly what, I mean, I really am just sewing the hair onto that thread that I put in. So just gonna shimmy it tighter here so I don't have a loopy thread. If anyone's familiar with sewing, you know, just like regular sewing, I actually have just had a little experience with sewing, but this is really just sewing and a lot of the same techniques. And I'm no expert at sewing by any stretch of the means, but I remember back stitching, and I actually like to do that here. So I kind of go, because I just want to make sure that I get them close together. So I use a little bit more thread, I think, than the average, because I kind of go forward and then back a lot. Another thing too is that this is going to be such a mess looking up close. But hey, you know what? All I'm showing is that you can do it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you can do it on yourself, even though it seems a little tricky. So the thing about having a long string, which is a bonus because, you know, I don't like to cut and retie and re-glue and all of that in the middle. It's just a pain. It's not, it just takes longer, and then I'm always a little bit concerned if it's going to stay as good, you know, and if I glue it good enough, it does, but it's just something I don't want to have to worry about. So it's challenging to work with a string that's too long. If you get it too long, then it's you have to find a perfect balance, because if you get it too long, it tangles and gets in knots, and when you're pulling it through, and it's just really hard. So, but on the other hand, you don't want to really have to be cutting it and recutting it the whole way around. So, basically, at first it's a little bit harder because the string's a little bit longer, but when it gets around to the other side, it tends to be a little bit easier. So, you can see it's, and I don't know how well you can see in this mirror, I guess. You're probably just seeing more of what I'm doing. And if you're familiar with these, you already know the process. And again, it's not really an instructional video anyways. Basically, we go all the way around, making sure that you pick up that string. It is easy to sew right around the hair, but not pick up the string underneath, and then there's no anchor. So you'll kind of, and that's not an abnormal thing, especially at first, starting off. So each time you pull it through, you just kind of, you know, feel through and make sure you picked it up so that it is attached to the hair. Okay, so on this side, I think you can see a little bit better since the cameras are bad. I kind of feel bad because this is definitely the bad side, so don't look too close. So anyways, this is, there's a little bit too much space here, and it always tends to get looser right in that back center first. So I'm just going to go back and do that little back stitch that I was talking about before. And just do it right, you know, somewhere in there in the middle. Hopefully you might even be able to see this better than I can, because I barely can see it. So, anyways, so then I'll just go, you know, forward over that other stitch and just keep going. So, each time I pull it, oops, each time I pull it, I've got a little hair in the way, then you can feel it secure after each loop. If it doesn't feel that tightness, then you didn't do the loop right to pull it through. So right here, I'm just going to do them closer together just because, like I said, the back tends to droop first. So once I get to this side, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to tie a knot, the same thing I did on the other side. I'm going to tie a knot, and then I will go glue it a tad bit, and then that's when I'll cut the strings, and then it'll be all done. And then I'll actually style it and everything to show you like the finished version. So you'll see the actual end result of just one row on short hair. So as I get a little bit closer over here, then I will take this little clip out, and then it'll stay pretty good. I may have to put it right in front of the last bead, but we'll see. It'll stay holding itself in place pretty good, so I don't have to, so it's not in the way. So this is where I put some extra glue on that left also, just right here at the end. Just gonna make sure it's clear. Hour, and that's about how long this is taking for me to do one row for myself. So it does take a little bit longer than, you know, doing it on other people, obviously, because you're doing it backwards. And the first time it took me a lot longer. So if you try this and it takes you longer, don't get discouraged, because it will take longer at first. So this is that thread that was attached to the bead underneath. So I just want to make sure I leave that out so I can find it easily when I'm done, because I'm going to tie the top string to the bottom just so it stays secure. And so just one in front on this side just to make it really, really secure around that bead. Like I said, I don't do it as tight as a lot of people, so I feel like I have a little bit of leeway there. If you do it super tight, getting your needle in there can actually cause breakage, but I like it looser. Like I said, not as clean as, you know, when you do it on yourself, but to me, I don't even care, because I got it done in an hour and I'm off to do my next thing for the day. And so that's it. I'll come back on in just a little bit and show you how it looks after it's styled. So